Good evening, everybody. You got Elvis, can you hear me on Zoom? You can hear me good? Perfect. We're doing the hands free. Just want to make sure. Welcome to Queen City Toastmasters, and welcome to our hybrid meeting. We got our president on Zoom, which we'll talk to him in a minute. We have two great speakers. We have some new people trying a new role. We got Jackie as our timer for the first time. But I'm going to be your Toastmaster, so you're going to hear plenty of me tonight. So I want to introduce you to our our past secretary, our past vice president of education, and our current president, who I believe, it looks like he's still in Dominican Republic. Are you still down there?
I'm still here.
Please welcome our president, Elvis Lopez.
Thank you so much, David. And good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. It is a pleasure to be here tonight in another Toastmasters meeting here at Queen City Toastmasters. As usual, we have a high expectation for a wonderful meeting tonight. We have three speakers and lots of opportunities for members and guests to also have a chance to speak in our table topics. So before we get into the meat of the meeting, I would like to also recognize the presence of guests. For those who are on site, I would like to ask our VP of Education and maybe our Sergeant at Arms to pass the mic over to any guests that might be on site for an introduction. So please tell us your name, how did you hear about Toastmasters and our club, and what are your goals tonight?
Are we good?
I can hear you.
Thank you, Elvis. We have a couple of guests here, and I'm going to start with Xavier. And if you can please share that information with us.
Thank you, Elvis. I'm here tonight just to listen to two great speeches and to learn more what it means to be a great speaker and hone in my leadership skills.
Thank you, Xavier. And I think we have one more guest. And if you could please introduce yourself and share that information with us. Thank you.
My name is John McNeil. I'm a guest. I'm from Friendship Toastmasters, and I was invited by David to come and visit your club and see if I could pick up some ideas. Our club is kind of struggling a little bit, so he invited us to visit other clubs, and this was a club that I chose that's kind of close to where I live. So thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Elvis, that covers all of the guests that are here with us in person.
Thank you so much, Eric, our VP of Education. And now I would like to introduce someone who is one of the most engaged Toastmasters that I've known. He is a past president of our club. He has been area director. He has been a division director, and now is a club growth director. He is always volunteering for positions and trying to show that leadership is made by doing. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, David Jones.
Thank you, Elvis. I appreciate it. And good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And welcome our guests from Friendship. Andrea Butterfly and I will be there tomorrow night. I'll be in person as a guest speaker. Andrea is going to be on Zoom. And if anybody else wants to come to a hybrid meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, I believe, right? Be in person. Oh, you're going to be there in person? Right. At Friendship, you all are at 6 o'clock? 6:15 at the library. If you want more information, you can ask me. And we're just gonna go support them, help them out, and help them rebuild their club, get it going again. Now, part of why he's here and part of why all of you are here is my theme tonight is leadership within Toastmasters. And just a little bit about me, I'm a workers' comp insurance author. I've been doing it for 25 years, and I've been a remote employee that whole time. I work for companies where right now my company is located in Michigan, and I am the Charlotte representative. So I work the Charlotte area, and I go out and I audit different insureds. But for 25 years, I've never been promoted because I have been managing myself, which is a good thing. I get raises and all the nice little perks, but I've never gotten into management. So I had an idea. I was going to go back to school and get my MBA. And in 2020, I got my master's in business administration. And I went to HR and they said, congratulations, you get back to work. It did nothing for me. I had to have management experience in order to get promoted. Well, I was at Toastmasters and I became treasurer, I became president, area director, I've done all the roles, and that gave me experience because being part of a club officer, it's like being a manager in a department. You have to work with others, you have to work within a budget, you have to promote it, you have to do onboarding, and you have to answer to people above you. Sometimes you have to reprimand people. And it's pretty much the same as working in a department. So with those skills, I went back to HR and I've been promoted twice since being in leadership here at Toastmasters. I know many of you just came here for public speaking, but our motto is where leaders are made. And the reason Ralph Smedley started it was because so many people had a hard time getting leadership skills. And this is one way to learn how to do different leadership skills. And next month, we're going to have our elections. And there's 7 officer positions, and I would recommend you all maybe try out for one of them. I think every single officer in Toastmasters International, the first time they became an officer, they all said the same thing. I'll do it. There's no enthusiasm. We just did it. And once we got into it, we learned what it meant to be a leader within Toastmasters. So you might not think that it's something you want to do. For instance, when I started here at Queen City, I was never going to be president of the club. I was never going to be in speech contests. And I definitely was never going to be Toastmaster of the day. And I've done all those things, but it kind of makes you reflect back on your own life where you say, if I could do that, I could do anything. And I've tried so many different things. And that's why I keep getting promoted and being part of other associations. So the bottom line is next month, I would like to see a lot of you try out for club officer and just start growing. It's not only just about you, it's also about giving back to the club that helps you out. The meeting wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for all the club officers. And with that, I'm going to start introducing. Well, actually, I'd like to introduce our officers. You already met our club president, Elvis. We have our vice president of education, Eric Laxer. He's in charge of pathways, signing you up, all that good stuff. Our VP of Public Relations in here, our treasurer's here, mostly everybody here, Jamie Richardson. He is the one that signs everybody up. And I believe that's all the officers we have here tonight. And I'm Sergeant at Arms, in charge of setting up the audio video and the room and all that good stuff. But there are 7 positions available. President can only run for 1 term for 12 months, but everybody else can run as long as they want. So every year we're going to have a new president, and we'll have a new president, and then Elvis will become the immediate past president. And I'd like to go ahead and start calling on our roll keepers. And our first person is going to be our grammarian, who is coming from our South Park sister club. That's Carla Sherry.
Welcome, everybody. Yes, and Toastmasters. As your grammarian, I basically have 3 roles. Number 1, I'm going to count ums and ahs and buts and so's and anything that you do that is stalling for speaking and doesn't contribute to what you're going to talk about. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to record interesting words that you might tell us. And the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to record interesting phrases or usages of language. In addition, I am responsible for word of the day. And this is a unique word of the day. Everybody get their pens and papers out. It's step up to the plate. Put hyphens in it. It normally isn't hyphenated, but step up to the plate, like step up to the plate and hit a home run. Step up to the plate and take on a role at Toastmasters. And to use it in a sentence, she hit a home run when she stepped up to the plate. And to use it in another way, as a Toastmaster, I finally decided to step up to the plate. And in my club, I am now the secretary. I would like to, because adult learners need to hear things over and over, and we're adults. Just on the count of 3, let's all say, step up the plate together so you remember it. And when you come up here, somehow incorporate that into whatever you say. Even if you want to say, step up to the podium, I'll accept that. So 1, 2, 3, step up to the plate. Hopefully it went into your brain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Carla. And in addition to people stepping up to the plate as club officers, if you've been an officer for a year, you can then become an area director. Area directors are over 4 clubs usually, 4 to 5 clubs. And then division directors, which is what I currently am, is over 20 clubs. And if you work for a company that has multiple locations, multiple stores, it's a great way to get those skills as well, because you're managing different stores and you can go and get promoted as a district manager at your own organization. So step up to the plate, our current officers, and think about becoming an area director. Next up for our first time, we're gonna be nice to her, is our timer, Jackie. And she's gonna explain her role to us. Welcome back.
Okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My name is Jackie, and I'll be timing all of your speeches today. To recap, when the green light goes on, that means you've made it and let's keep going. Yellow means we have to make a decision whether to drive it home or not. And red means please stop so that we can all go to Taco Tuesday tonight. Thank you for having me, and good luck to those who all step up to the plate.
You want to say, may the odds be in your favor? No, just maybe that's from Hunger's Games.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and move on to our speakers. Before our first speaker comes up, you want to do make sure the PowerPoints, share screen, make sure we got that. Perfect. I want to introduce you to our club's area director. She is one of the busiest people I know doing volunteer work. I thought I was busy, but as you all heard her first speech with many hats, she is a busy person. So please welcome our area director, Dr. Carla Jones. Dr. Carla.
Sorry about that. When technology goes wrong. What I want everyone to do for me is clap your hands like this. Fish don't fry in the kitchen, the greens don't burn on the grill. Took a hole like a tree out here, just to get up here, so moving on. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am Carla Jones, and today I'm gonna talk to you about the different TV shows that shaped my childhood, starting with The Jeffersons. The Jeffersons dealt with social issues concerning race, and they also entertained you every week. My favorite character was Florence. With this particular speech, I just want you to think to yourself, what are some of the TV shows that shaped your childhood? And as a disclaimer, I was not raised by the television, but I did watch a lot of television. Think to yourself, What life lessons did you learn from TV shows? Or were they just entertainment for you? For me, I had several TV shows, Small Wonder and The Wonder Years. You remember Small Wonder? She's a small. With these TV shows, they taught you how to be a child and an adolescent and how to survive throughout those years. Love these shows. My first memory of a TV show was Mork and Mindy. Mork and Mindy taught you that it was okay to be different. And or as he would say, KO. And I also loved his suits and his suspenders that he wore. Good times, anytime you need a payment. Good times, anytime you need a thrill. Good times. I'm messing. Good times, it allowed you to escape. They went through a lot: poverty, social issues, family concerns, losses in the family. And throughout them all, you were able to look at their family and disassociate yourself from yours. And at times that was great. And Dynamite, my girls, my golden girls, sing with me. Thank you for being afraid. Travel down the road and back again. I love the Golden Girls. They were very inspirational, very comedic. And I'm not sure about y'all, but as a kid, I did not know that Blanche was a little promiscuous. The Cosby Show in a Different World. Who watched A Different World and said, I want to go to college? Who watched The Cosby Show and said, it is not a good idea to go and see the wretched and have big fun in Baltimore? Claire and Cliff taught their kids a lot of different things and a lot of life lessons. And also you learned some things that you shouldn't do from Ron and Dwayne and Whitley on A Different World. Not sure if some of these photos resonate with you all, but this is what I used to bond with my grandmother. We watched all these soap operas. Soap operas are anything but the same show in a different setting. Up here you have All My Children, Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, Guiding Light, and As the World Turns. Every day this jumped off at 12:30 in the afternoon and we watched all day. But if I talk about grandma, I gotta talk about granddad. We watched the most ridiculous action shows together. We watched the 18, Hawaii Five-0, Incredible Hulk, Knight Rider, and Dukes of Hazzard. No purpose to these shows, but entertainment and to hang with my grandfather. And Live in Color. This show is associated with my bedtime. Had to be in bed by 9 p.m. and that is when In Living Color came on. Therefore, my mom used to record it on the VHS. So I got to see Homie the Clown, Homie Don't Play That, and I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard that from me. Soul Train. That's when you learned the latest dances and got the smoothest songs, all while helping your grandma clean the floor. I spent a lot of time with my grandma, all while cleaning the floors. And if you're from the country, beating the rugs, we didn't vacuum rugs, we beat the rugs on the porch. Fresh Prince, you all know this, and let's go. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, or cooling, or shipping some people all outside. Fresh Prince, comedy, right? But the best episodes were when it was the first Aunt Viv, they call her dark skin Aunt Viv, and they had light skin Aunt Viv. Those were the best episodes. They dealt with family issues, social issues, everything you could possibly think about. TGI Friday, who remembers TGI Friday? That was Family Matters. I'm so glad we don't have to deal with Urkel anymore. Step by step, day by day. Family Dynamics. There was a step family brought together as a unit, Full House, and then my favorite, not the mama, Dinosaurs. Saved by the Bell, when I wake up in the morning and I don't think I'll ever make it on time. Terrible hairstyles, terrible clothing. They did teach you a few things. I remember the thing that stood out to me the most was when Jesse overcame drugs during that particular episode. I say all this to say my childhood was shaped by TV shows, caused me to step up to the plate and do something with my life, go to college, be more aware of my surroundings, and also learn how to be entertained and enjoy life in particular. I forgot one thing. In closing, me and Alf would like to finish that song. You ready? Fish don't fry in the kitchen. Come on. A green don't burn on the grill. Took a whole tree out just to get it up right here. Here we go. Now we're up in the big leagues. Get it, Mr. Toastmaster?
Thank you, Dr. Carla. I failed to mention, I forgot a few things, but we'll get to those. And I failed to tell you about her speech. Her speech was from Pathways Engaging Humor, obviously. Level 1, Intro to Vocal Variety and Body Language. I'll leave it up to the evaluators whether if she hit all those or not, but it was the TV shows shaped her childhood memories. Next up, we're going to have our second speaker. I'm going to get it right this time. He is from Presentation Masteries, Level 1, Writing a Speech with Purpose, 5 to 7 minutes, Madam Timer. That is Lady Justice. Please welcome Bill Fountain, Lady Justice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Well, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I'm Bill Fountain, and we're going to talk about, or I'm going to delve into Lady Justice. You can see Lady Justice right here. Let's go back and think about something. I remember where I told a child, Sammy, that's enough. Come with me. We're going to go to see the not the superintendent, but the dean of students. You have interrupted our classes too many times. You're robbing the freedom of our children. This is what I called out to Sammy. So why was, that kind of pained me to take a child out of the classroom, an unruly child out of the classroom, to take him down to see the dean of students. And why did I do that? I said enough because I had offered Sammy several things. I said, one is that I warned him several times about what he was doing. I also encouraged him to do better. And not only that, but his fellow students would say, Sammy, please sit down. You're disrupting the class. Now, it pained me to take Sammy down to see the dean of students. But at the same time, my fellow students are like the rest of us. We would enjoy our freedom. We to live in peace and have predictability. For instance, like when this is particularly when you're driving, you may expect to have an orderly traffic, and in shopping, you hope to not be run over or something like that by a shopping cart, or even a stroll in the park where you hope to be at peace. Well, that's part of what Lady Justice is about. So let's take a look at Lady Justice. One, she has been tarnished by some lawyers or by some judges. However, she does symbolize justice, law, and order, and good conscience. And the first thing is that the scales are a balance between the action or the act and the consequences of the act to try to achieve equilibrium. The blindfold is for impartiality. The sword is for authority and swift action or justice. And then the toga outfit is for responsibility and moral character. So if you go back, we look back in history and that we call natural law, we know that we all have a sense of justice. In other words, what right behavior is and what wrong behavior is. And that we got that from the early Greeks. We got that from the early Egyptians, the Chinese, and the Judeo-Christian. All right. And then punitive justice, which is what Lady Justice essentially is about, is that punishment is a deterrent to have people to stop having crime. And in other words, it's a deterrent against crime. And then in other words, it's where the lawbreaker will see that punishment, the pain of punishment will make me think, no, I don't want to do that in the future. And anybody who is looking or observing that will say, hey, I don't want to end up having the same consequences happen to me. So that's one of the issues that we find in the way of our history. And that we also know that during I particularly experienced this during the American Cultural Revolution of the 60s and 70s, Lady Justice was essentially countered by another thought by particularly the people who were pushing the idea of restorative justice. And essentially restorative justice sounds good, and what it does is that it tries to heal or repair the harm that was done between the offender and the victim, and using ideas such as circular processes to resolve the conflict, to another additional things is to encourage people to resolve through conferences to resolve their relationships and to make the relationships better. However, one of the interesting things that came out of this time frame was the whole notion of responsibility or accountability. They question the idea of accountability, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. Now, I read a book recently called by William Barr, who's the former Attorney General. And what he was saying is that he looked at these two different types of justice systems, and he found that during the time of using the restorative discipline was that they have an increase in the number of crime. And so what he's supposed to do was propose using a weed and feed program. In other words, to take those, mainly it was just a small number of people who were creating the crime, is to take them out and try to promote good behavior. And crime would go down. The next one is that at Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system, the school board imposed a guideline or a guide rail on the superintendent. And the idea on that was to try to stop the number of out-of-school suspensions. And unfortunately, what happened was that the rate of complaints about discipline increased, and so did the teachers actually leaving the classroom, which was unfortunately, and some of the scores actually went down. And the other part was that parents were complaining that their traumatized child was still sitting beside the perpetrator of traumatizing that child, even on the school bus or in the classroom. And then later on is that the Rand Corporation did a study about the restorative justice, and they essentially found that it was a mixed results, and we had more the suspensions actually went down in elementary school, but went back up in middle and other high schools. And that was something that they found also, and that the students were saying, by the way, is that what is happening to us is that we're losing respect for our teachers because they're not able to manage the classroom sufficiently. So let's go back to Sammy. So I interviewed Sammy's parents, talked to them, and I found out that his mom would allow Sammy to have total free action, no accountability. And Sammy could do essentially what he wanted. But his mom and dad, his dad said, hey, teachers, can you help rein him in? Well, Sammy acted on impulse, and I really felt sorry for that. I tried to find ways to try to make him think about accountability. So let's go back to Lady Justice. She represents the idea that we are accountable for our actions. Just like we don't run red lights, we're courteous to other people. There's a certain procedures and things, behaviors that we live to. And the notion that we don't have free will or we're not accountable leads us into this thinking that we can be almost, if we act on impulses, it is almost like dangling a carrot in front of a horse where you can lead them along astray. So the thinking now is, and sometimes that you're seeing that is happening, is that it's being afraid of the idea of not having the accountability, and we can be led like sheep, and that's something we don't want to have. And so I think the justice needs to hang around. Thank you for your attention. And this bad enough. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Bill. We get a timers report. It's fun to walk up here.
Thank you. Carla, you were at 6 minutes and 47 seconds, and Bill, you were at 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Thank you both for stepping up to the plate.
Okay. Let's get the word of the day in. They may have noticed, whenever you're up on stage here, this is your stage, you do with it what you want. Whenever I'm Toastmaster, I always wear a hat. You can see our first speaker, she also wore a similar hat. I have a feeling she always wears hats, so, because her first speech is on hats. She has like 50 of them. And then Bill, a former teacher, he is going to be running for school board, I believe. So he comes up and he dresses the part and he's practicing his speeches. And this is what we come here for, is to practice speeches not only for work, but hopefully for politics, to help lead our community. And I did forget somebody earlier, our inspirational speaker, another person who likes to use this stage. Not everybody wears wings or butterfly wings, but her inspirational speech is, I Believe I Can Fly, which I believe was her kindergarten graduation speech. I don't remember giving a speech in kindergarten. Okay. Oh, you're gonna, okay, got it. It wasn't hers. She's gonna be giving one. That makes sense. And then you can move right into your table topics after that. She's also our table topics master. So Andrea Williams, Andrea Chocolate Butterfly Williams. She believes you can fly.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Hello, everybody. All my parents, our teachers, and our little ones. We all had a dream. From the time we could sing, we could talk, we could walk. We all had a dream. Today, our theme is I Believe I Can Fly. Now, that's easy to say. One little boy asked me at this very school, are those wings real? Can you really fly? And I looked him straight in his eye and I said, you bet I can. And you may be saying, there's no way you can fly. You have legs, you have to walk. And those wings you have behind your back, they're not real. But it's okay. These wings represent everything that I pursue, everything that I believe, everything that I dream, I can achieve. See, if you hang out with the chocolate butterfly, she'll teach you how to be you and fly. Don't try to be like everybody else. You may like swimming, you may like basketball, you may even like robotics, you may even like to just draw pictures. You have a dream. Don't let anybody tell you, little ones, that you can't pursue. So I'm going to give everybody a little gift today. And today your gift is a card. Today you get the card to help you dream. If you fill this card out, I'll help you achieve. If you fill this card out, I bet you I'll show you how to believe. If you fill this card, this is you taking one step to pursue your dream. Now you say, what does all I have to do to be fine? But every time, I think the way I find a bit that you may not want. Thank you, sir. He said he believed the way. He said, how do you like that? I say, yes, sir. Every time you open up one of those books, you too help me fly. They fly off the shells and I fly. It was my dream to be an author when I was just your age. Yes, 4 and 5. I had all these dreams, but people told me that life was not a dream. Life is not a game, but I want you to know there's key players in this life. There's rules to this life. You must follow them, little ones. You must be the good little caterpillar. And then you can cocoon in school. And as you fly to the next level and the next level, because everybody here is going to first grade, let's say yeah! Congratulations, because now you too can fly. Thank you. Forgot. So one of the parents told me, sorry. One of the parents told me, and I want you guys to tell me feedback if you like this song. It's new, so bear with me. But I hang with the chocolate butterfly. She teaches me how to be you and fly. In the caterpillar village, we stay alive because dreams help us to achieve. Thank you. You guys can tell me your feedback. I'm still working on it. It's a little shaky. But so we're going into table topics right now. So who all wants to fly? Who wants to step up to the plate today? Oh, I got you. All right, you left your hand up, Jamie, so you're first. But before he comes, table topics. This is your time where you have to be on the spot, think on the spot, not prepare. I know you all been there. So I was a control analyst at Wells Fargo. And I just had an interview today for another position at Wells Fargo. And they asked me, have you ever had a time where you had to think on your feet and be able to get this information out and people didn't understand? Of course I did. Now, how many people have been there? That's what table topics is. She gave us step up to the plate. So today we're going to step up to the plate. So you have 2 to 3 minutes. So 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes, sorry, 1 to 2 minutes. I'm like, that's not right. 1 to 2 minutes, and you just have to make it to 1 minute. That's when that green light gonna come on. And then 1.5, that yellow light. And then, like she said, to get to Taco Tuesday, when we see that red light at 2 minutes, we need you to wrap it up. All right. So Jamie was our first person because he kept his hand up, so I'm gonna choose. Cameron, I said Jamie. Sorry. Cameron, come on up. All right. So
Be easy now. I just graduated kindergarten.
just graduated kindergarten. So I heard, and this is so funny because Dr. Seuss, since you mentioned that, Dr. Seuss said that everything he needed to know about life, he learned in kindergarten.
Good enough.
He said, I learned how to cut and paste. I learned how to share with others and take a nap. So, Karen, what did you learn in kindergarten that helps you here today to step up?
Thank you for the question, Andrea Chocolate Butterfly Williams. I learned a lot in kindergarten. That was really my first time ever meeting friends. And oddly enough, 2 of those friends that I met in kindergarten went on to be my groomsmen at my wedding. So, but I remember you mentioned sharing. I did learn how to share because my first week in kindergarten, we got to play with a block set and I didn't know how to share. And I remember getting called upon by the teacher. I didn't have to see the dean of students or anything, but I remember getting a lecture in kindergarten because I needed to learn how to share. Also learned how to nap. We would come in every day and we had our little beach towel rolled up. And I remember thinking how much cooler we were than the first graders, second graders, all the way up to the 5th graders that were in my elementary school, because the kindergartners got to take naps. The other kids did not get to take naps. And I thought that was the coolest place to be. So I learned 2 of my best friends that are still my best friends today, groomsmen in my wedding, learn how to share, and I learned that naps are great. So thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster. We both are sitting here with this wonderful stuff going on. All right, so who, come on. I don't even have to I love when I don't have to volunteer anybody.
I'm not sure what I just signed up.
It's gonna be fun today. So in my speech, I talked about be you and fly. Be you and fly means that you are going to be every unique person that you're meant to be from the start. So that you can step up to the place, that you can fly. What is it about you? Jeff. What is it about you, Jeff, that makes you so unique to step up and to take up one of these office positions today?
Yes, well, thank you very much for the introduction, Andrew. That's a great question. What is unique about me that could give me the inspiration to get up here and take up the position of Toastmasters? You know, I think it's just my will to get up and try things that are against what I've always been known to not do. You know, having anxiety my whole life and being afraid of public speaking and being in front of a large group of people, something that's inflicted me my entire existence. You know, I used to, when I was in kindergarten through 5th grade, have to do choir at school. And I used to be so afraid to do that, even though I would get up with all my classmates, and you know, it's about 20 classmates. And you're just one person in that group. But I used to be so afraid of getting up and singing at church that, you know, sometimes I'd even have to go to the bathroom because I was just so nervous. But you know, I started growing out of this thing as life grew on. You know, nowadays I work a remote job, so I'm just not in front of people as much as I want to. So for me, it's my persistence to step up to the plate, use the word of the day, and try and get over my fear of public speaking. And I think that persistence is what's going to help me to be better at getting a position in Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jeff. Now, to step up to the plate, we have our sister club member coming up. Oh, no, new member. Sorry, I got y'all confused. We don't all look alike. Okay, I'm sorry.
What's that?
Jobby. I like that. All right, so on the theme today, we're stepping up to the plate. We're gonna take a position. They're gonna make you the VP of marketing. And if you know anything about marketing, they always have a song, right? So I need you to step up in the plate and market our Queen City Club. Give me a song that really will get people excited to join Queen City. VP of marketing.
All right, one thing that everybody wants to do is be part of something. Right? Okay, so the only way you can get people to be part of something is to be able to get them, catch them, to get that hook to draw them in. Right? Well, the only way I think you can do that is with a jingle. Okay. All right? But the way we're gonna do this jingle, this is gonna be a jingle that we are all part of. We're gonna do this together. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna have you guys come up with 3 words. And you guys come up with 3 words. And you guys come up with 3 words. And you come up with 3 words. And then you guys are gonna wrap it up. Can we do this? Are we ready to step up to the plate and make this happen?
Yeah.
All right, all right. All right, y'all prepared for what's coming. All right. Y'all hear roll.
We're queens and kings are ready.
We're kings and queens are made.
All for one.
And well, 3 more words. And I'm assuming a good point at that point would be able to add on and one for all. So we're king and queens are made, all for one, and one for all. Okay, we can come back. Evaluating something, okay? And back on. What about you guys? You want to wrap this up for us? Okay, you ready? Let's go. What you got? Go for it. Where kings and queens are made, all for one for all. Go for it. Winners are winners. Leaders are leaders. Let's go. Yeah, we're gonna put it all together. Leaders are leaders. There you go. Good job, guys.
That was awesome. I'm gonna be honest, that was awesome. I loved it. Dude. Table, got a couple more, okay. Is anybody online? Oh, Elvis is online, okay. Welcome to Stepping Up to the Plate today. I know you might not have been here, Xavier, but one of the things that I did with my grandfather was go to the baseball game. So I know a lot about sports that people don't think I do because I'm this person. But I love sports. One of the sports I love is baseball. What will it take for you to slide and make a home run and be a leader in the Queen City Toastmasters? On to you.
Thank you for that great question. I myself enjoy baseball. I've had the luxury of going to see a A's game last month. And what I really enjoyed about that game is just see how the players step up to the base, eyeing up the pitcher and trying to figure out, okay, this is going to be a curveball. This is going to be a fastball. It's going to be a knuckleball. What is this coming down at me? And once you knock it out of the park, you sprint to first base. Now that's a metaphor. First base here in Queen City is delivering your first speech. Your first speech could be an impromptu speech. Your first speech could be your icebreaker. Then you sprint to second base. That is your second speech. You got the jitters out of the way and you're going. Okay. Next thing you're at third base and you know this is it. As soon as I run down that line drive, I'm going to slam it and finish what I have to finish. And that is walking past home base. Now, what is home base? As everybody knows, that's actually completed your first pathway. You know that you've accomplished something greater than what you've ever achieved. So that's what it means to be, to finish strong here at Toastmasters, finishing your first pathway. Thank you.
Never leave here. All right, never leave here till. All right.
Person.
All right. So if you didn't know, I used to be a VP of education. So won't do that. They can't get me. It won't work. I'm not doing it. Okay, so we have one more. Who wants to take the last question? Who's ready to step up to the plate? I think she has a beautiful hat and she's just so unique. I just need to call on her. Come on. Gotta make this one good. It's the last one. It's the finale. And if you know what the finale is, sometimes you're gonna answer, right? So in Toastmasters, you can only be president one time. But you want to step up to the plate and be president. You want to make the best out of that time. What is the one thing, as you're president now, right? No, okay, but if you were president.
Yes.
You were, okay. What was the one thing that you made as your goal to show leadership?
Thank you, Madam Table Talks Master, for that question. The one thing that I made as my goal as president of Friendship Toastmasters was a club success plan. And it was to become president's distinguished. So that was my goal. So that was our club goal. And it was quite you got everybody know Toastmasters club success plan is. That's the benchmark that Toastmasters uses to grade how successful the clubs do it. It's the highest award that any club can achieve. I think there's like over 16,000 clubs in our division. I think there was only 8 clubs that made the president's distinguished. And when I was president, Friendship Toastmasters Club won the president's distinguished for 21-22. Thank you. John.
Thank you, Toastmaster John. So that ends my tenure, and I don't have an encore other than to say, don't forget to dream, believe, pursue, achieve, and step up to the plate and become the leaders you were meant to be.
Amen.
The Toastmaster chocolate butterfly. Can we get a timer's report, please?
Cameron, you are at 1 minute, 19 seconds. Jeff, you are at 1 minute, 30 seconds on the dot. Javi, you are at 2 minutes and 9 seconds, but well worth it with that awesome song. Xavier, you are at 1 minute and 47 seconds. And John, you are at 1 minute and 15 seconds. And again, thank you all for stepping up to the plate.
Thank you, Jackie. And if you have fears about being an officer, we have training. It's twice a year. It's required for club officers to go. Same with area and division directors. There's always training. You have the current members or current officers who are going to be there to help you. So you're not going to become an officer and just be on your own. I mean, people like myself and the previous past presidents, we all want to make sure the club succeeds. So we're kind of going to be behind you, and like I do, step on people's toes a lot, but I mean well. But you're not going to be alone. So if you decide to be an officer, there's plenty of help and education. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our general evaluator, one of the longest term Toastmasters here, actually, Cameron, who's a new dad too. Probably not new. What is she, like, 1.5 years?
Next month. 2. You can shake it.
Okay.
You can break it.
All right.
It's already broken. All right. Good evening, Toastmasters and honored guest. I'm going to be our general evaluator for tonight. So this is the portion of the meeting where we get into why we're all here, right? We're here to get better. And so the only way to get better is to A, get up here and do it. That's the first thing. But B, get feedback from your peers, your friends here to give you things to work on. Things you did well and things to work on to get better. So I have a couple I'm going to introduce our evaluators, and then after that, we'll get a timers report and a grammarian report, and then we'll do a evaluation of the meeting as a whole. So our first evaluator coming up to the plate, going to evaluate Carla's speech, is going to be Toastmaster Jamie.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Thank you, Carla. That was a wonderful stroll down memory lane. I think we shared 99% of the same shows in childhood. There's one key show missing though that was exceptionally important for my childhood, Sports Center. That was a plate that I stepped up to every morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. But all the other shows I definitely agree with were formative. I'm going to share your feedback on 3 dimensions: content, structure, and delivery. That's what I always cover in my evaluations. And I'll hit things I thought were particularly effective, as well as some things that you might want to think about next time as opportunities. We'll start with content. Overall, what a fun topic. You tied the shows into life lessons that you experienced. You also shared some really, I thought, nice moments around how you bonded with members of your family around certain shows. From an opportunity perspective, maybe spend a bit more time on a fewer number of shows, really bring them to life in terms of what were the things that were really memorable and influential about those shows in your life, because we lost a little bit of some of those messages with just the volume of the shows that you took us through on that journey. From a structure perspective, I thought the slide presentation was really helpful. That's not always the case, but I thought you did a nice job of using the visuals, especially for things that are so far back in our memories. We don't even all remember the shows that we were watching, but the faces, right, the puppets, that brings it back to life for everybody. So I thought that was particularly effective. As we walk through it, you use themes of types of shows. So whether it was comedies, whether it was soap operas, whether it was action shows, I thought that was very effective as well. One thing you might think about a little bit differently next time, though everyone who knows me knows that I like structure in my speeches, so maybe this is just more of a personal trait, is instead take those messages that you had and build the whole presentation or the whole speech around that. So what were some of those shows that really helped you bond with different members of your family or friends? What were shows that gave you life lessons throughout? What were shows that maybe helped you deal with adversity or deal with difficult times, or how you coped through certain experiences in life? It's just a different way you might put a spin on how you deliver the speech. From a delivery perspective, you smiled throughout. That's always really important as a speaker. In your delivery, you were very confident. I thought the engagement device at the very beginning in terms of getting the audience applause going was also very effective in getting us really excited for what the topic was. You used throughout catchphrases to bring the shows to life, to help us remember what those really memorable shows were, the songs from the shows. I thought all of that was fantastic. My only last comment here, just a little bit louder in the volume. There's a lot of air conditioning in the back. We've got a lot of ambient noise in this particular room. So just amping up that volume would be fantastic. Overall, fantastic job. I think you're such a great addition to Queen City Toastmasters. I can't wait for your next speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jamie. Always a great evaluation. And I must say, I really enjoyed growing up with Fresh Prince and Family Matters. I think I got a lot of good lessons on how to be a man from Uncle Phil and Carl Winslow. All right. So our next evaluator who will be evaluating Bill's speech will be Dr. Eric.
Thank you, Toastmaster Cameron. I was very careful squeezing your hand just now in the handshake. I don't know what's going on there, but I hope you're okay. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. It is my pleasure to provide an evaluation this evening for Bill Fountain's speech, which is part of his level 1 from his presentation mastery pathway, writing a speech with a purpose, appropriately titled Lady Justice. Quote, let's delve into the notion of Lady Justice. Is she still needed? Thank you, Bill, for stepping up to the plate and again continuing with another one of your speeches on your Toastmaster journey. I'm going to spend the next few minutes going over what I think you did well. I'm then going to offer a few suggestions of things that I think you can work on, and then I'm going to sum up my thoughts. Well, let's start with what you did well, and let's focus on your content. First of all, thank you for putting the information of your speech on the agenda to allow me to get an idea of what your content was going to be. I think that's very important for the person who's doing your evaluation. I love that you started with a story, personal story about your student, Sammy, and then toward the end, when you were completing your speech, you brought us full circle back and told us, well, what happened with Sammy. I think that's an excellent skill and tactic in storytelling. I like how you used visual aids. You had a picture of Lady Justice. You explained what the elements in the picture were. Most of those, admittedly, I did not know. And I thought you used that visual aid very appropriately. In terms of your presentation, the first thing that I noticed when you came up here was you didn't stand behind the lectern. You stepped forward. You stepped forward into the audience, engaging all of us in a way that I think was very appropriate. And you also had excellent eye contact. I noticed how you were looking around the room, speaking to everybody who was here. And I think whether you're giving a speech here in a Toastmasters environment or in front of the school board, then bringing people into you personally is a very powerful tool. I also like the way you used hand gestures. You did so in a very subtle way at times. On a few occasions in your speech, when you were talking about offenders and victims, you took your hand and you mentioned the word offenders here, and then you moved your hand as you were mentioning the word victims. You also did that when you made a point of how teachers were leaving the classroom, and when you were saying the words leaving the classroom, you extended your hand out, and I think that also was good use of body language. You asked me to look for filler words. I didn't really find any. We'll hear from the grammarian, but I thought you did a very good job at avoiding filler words in your speech. You also asked me to comment on the organization, the logic, and the flow of your speech. And I think it was there, but I think if I were to identify an area of your speech where your speech could be stronger, more powerful, and leave me with the message you were trying to share, which is Lady Justice needed? And you said yes, would be to have a little bit more clear organization taking me through the flow of your speech. In summary, I thought you spoke to us very well about something you clearly are passionate about. I love how you engage the audience. I love how you used your props and your body language, and I thought you did an excellent job. And as I stated earlier, I think you gave us another outstanding speech on your Toastmasters journey. Thank you for doing that. Back to you.
All right, I'll preface by saying this. My hand is a collapsed tendon or a inflamed tendon from picking up my fat kid. He's 2 years old next month, and he's 99th percentile in weight and height, and he's a load. So apparently I have something called mommy wrist. I'm sorry, it's not more of a manly story than that. It's what it is. I hate being asked what happened to your wrist, but then I have to tell it. It's mommy wrist. Basically, it just wore out the tendon in my thumb. So I've got to get, I had to get a steroid shot, and I've got to just wear this for 2 weeks, which ends Thursday. Then I'll be back. So anyway, just throwing that out there. It's probably the elephant in the room, but I will say I loved your speech as well, Bill. The first thing you did was come up here and have a prop, which I always love props. Andrea had a prop as well, which is awesome. At my house, Lady Justice's name is Elizabeth. That's my wife, and she keeps me in check. So anyway, with that, I think we'll move into a timers report. So we'll Toastmaster Jackie come up and give us a timers report, please.
Sorry to hear about your hand.
Oh,
Okay, Jamie, you were at 2 minutes, 57 seconds. Eric, you were at 4 minutes. And for the last time from me tonight, thank you both for stepping up to the plate.
So a quick evaluation, and then we'll have our grammarian come up. Love seeing all the new faces. I've seen some people here that I haven't got to meet yet. So that means two things, really. It means our club is getting the word out, and it also means hopefully we're growing in our member count. I also like looking at the agenda and seeing, names filled in for every role. I know Toastmaster Eric loves seeing that, but he's the one that has to fill out this schedule, and it's a big job. So to help him out, please go in there and sign up for roles. I'm preaching to myself, and part of the way I'm stepping up to the plate is next week I will be Toastmaster for the first time ever. Here we go. Don't know what's going to happen, but here we go. And so for those of you that are here tonight, I'll let you in on a little treat. Next week's theme is going to be creativity. So now you get a week in advance to think about it. Creativity. Well, I'm not stealing next week's thunder, but you go on the national calendar and you figure out what today is. That's what I did. Just kind of come up with a theme. Carly, you've done that too. And there was like 8 different things. Apparently there's a national day or an international day for everything that you can think of. And there was like 8 things for next Tuesday, but one of them happened to be creativity. I was like, that one applies for Toastmasters. So here we go. So only thing I would have liked, there's 2 things I would have liked better out of this meeting. One, if I would have been here on time. 'Cause I'm a big stickler. I'm a big stickler for being on time. I got it from my grandfather. And so I just kill me to be here 8 minutes late. So I'll try to do better and not let you down next time. For everybody else here, great job being on time. The second thing I would have liked to have seen tonight was this was the perfect Toastmasters meeting for a ballot counter. We had 3 speakers and 5 table topics. So that would have been the one thing that would have been cool to add. But, you know, who am I to judge? And let's see. I think that was the most I had for the evaluation piece, making sure. Yeah, great job on the speeches, great job on table topics, great job, everybody. With that, I'm going to ask Carla to come up and give us a grammarian report, please. Right.
Been there, done that. I had a 20-pound 4-month-old.
Oh, wow.
Couldn't hold himself. He's just Buddha baby. Okay. We have a little bit of time, right? I'm going to do a thorough grammarian report. At any point, if you want me to stop, just let me know, but I'm going to show you, I'm here to try to help you. That's the purpose of the grammarian. David. Oh, first of all, 2 step ups the plate. In fact, I want to say to everybody, we all stepped up to the plate. Andrea, I think you had 9 times. I think you're the winner. I think everybody but 1 or 2 people used it, so excellent. You were almost perfect. You had a and you had a like. You said like I step on people something a lot. I wasn't sure. So you had that. You had a couple ends when you were listing things you could have not used as ends. Jackie, you were perfect until the very last thing you got up, you started oh. Otherwise, you were perfect. 3 stepped it out of the park. Excellent job doing timing, by the way. Carla, I couldn't hear everything you were saying, I will tell you. So it's probably my fault, and the hum was catching your voice. Excellent speech, really entertaining. You had a lot of ands, and, which most of them you did not need. In fact, you had 1 long and those are things that you could work on and do that. You had, okay, I don't know what that's up, so I can't say it. Bill, you said, so why, so, we, you repeated words. So you went, I think they're called double somethings. I don't remember the word. Double clutches. You would go down one path, stop what you were saying, and go down another path. So you weren't continuous. Your story itself, as he said, was great. Those are things that I think you work on. Some of the words I like that you talked about were equilibrium. And I believe that I have never heard in using the restorative discipline and the restorative justice. I think they must have been called something else at one point, but I thought those were words that people could look up and find out some information on. You had so, if you know, and you got, and then these, so, to, top, and, so, let's go back. So Sammy, his mom, you had a lot of so's and that, whatever. So as you're going to be a public speaker and wanting to, state your position, working on that, taking pauses between what you say will make you more effective. Looking at people and taking those pauses. It's better to pause than to have so many of those things. And okay, next we have Andrea. Andrea, as I said, at least 9 step up to the plates. You had so. You had a lot of so's. And I love that we all had a dream. You had a dream. I like the juxtaposition of those. And then, of course, the motto, everything I believe I can achieve. I think we can all walk away with that today and just remember that. Cameron, you did a step up to the plate. There you are. Your favorite word is so. Tonight's favorite word for everybody is so. But so what, right? You shared with mommy risk, and so I appreciate that. You also had, anyway, you know, a lot of filler words, buts again. Didn't detract, we got your message, but we're speaking spontaneously. It's not a rehearsed speech. We all do that. But just to let you know. Jeff, you had step up to the plate again. You had 3 you-knows. You talked about being afraid of public speaking. I was so nervous. Your word is wait, Jeff, right. That's something you work on. Okay. Is North Carolina shirt? I couldn't hear your name.
Johnny.
Okay, Jami. Okay, so all right. I was thinking of that movie. That's all I could hear. All right. You used a lot of all rights. And I love that you said, and get that hook and draw them in. That was a good expression for the day. And I'm not going to repeat it, but we all can go away with the new jingle as a motto. Xavier, you did step up to the plate, some version of it. So that, and what it means, you repeat it a little bit. Your thing, first base, your whole first base, second base, third base, it was a great metaphor. And as a use of language, that was really good. John, blue shirt, other blue shirt. I did not hear you say step up to the plate. You had You were big into us. And you talked about a club success plan. We can all, if you're not familiar with it, that's something to learn about. It's a good expression. And the last 2, Jamie, you stepped up to the plate, and where's Jamie? Okay, thank you. You must be Canadian or you so you had every version of that you could. So congratulations to you. And Eric.
The only Canadian. I am.
And you had not a single A. So you had a couple alsos that you did not need. You could have just gone from sentence to sentence to sentence. And you also had listing and when you were doing your list, which we can all learn from this. I hope everybody's learned from them. I, of course, I had so many numerous ums and ahs and ohs and everything that I can't count. Thank you very much for doing such a great job.
Thank you, Toastmaster Carla. So, moving on. No, before I turn it back over to Toastmaster, just again, sign up for roles, try to be engaged in this group. I'm preaching to myself here and being better about that. But being here lets you step outside of your comfort zone, which is going to help you in all aspects of your life. So it helped me step out of my comfort zone and step up to the plate, take on additional task at my job. So it pays off because yesterday I got promoted. So, but it all starts right here. I came here to get the courage that I needed to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and it helps you in everything in life. So encourage you to sign up for roles and step up to the plate and get up here and just do it. Okay. Are we scared? Of course we are. I'm scared sometimes still, but still got to do it. So thank you for that. With that, I'll turn it over to Toastmaster David.
On the 19th?
Yeah, and it's my first time doing a Toastmaster.
Wow. Have you ever been a club officer?
Huh?
Have you ever been a club officer?
Here we go.
The same way, one of the oldest members in the club. All right. We are kind of running out of time, so we're gonna go ahead and close out the meeting. I think Elvis has a bad connection. So I believe Eric is gonna close us out. Is the what is it called?
Presiding officer.
Presiding officer. That's the big word. Turn it on a minute ago.
Excellent job, Toastmaster David. Thank you very much for doing that. We'll take 1 minute with each of our guests and just ask them to share with us their thoughts on today's meeting. Xavier.
Thank you. I must say another great meeting. Thank you, Chocolate Butterfly, for those great questions. Very thought-provoking questions. Bill, same thing. Very thought-provoking with your speech, talking about Lady Liberty. and I forgot your name, but nonetheless, Carla, thank you again for a great speech. I know that that's before my generation of all those TV shows, but regardless, it definitely made me think about my childhood growing up, being in kindergarten, listening to, Rugrats and some other Nickelodeon shows. Sorry, but thank you.
And John, thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to everyone. I enjoyed the meeting. I really enjoyed the table topic session. And the meeting is flowed smooth and easy and natural. I really enjoyed it. I'd like to invite you guys to come and join us tomorrow night at the Vegas Ford Library at 6:15. We'll be glad to have you as our guest. And thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you. And Princess, if you would like to also maybe just tell us how you heard about Toastmasters and then just tell us your thoughts on the meeting.
Hi, everyone. So I found out about Toastmasters. I actually used Chat GBT. So I use like the AI. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I was looking for a public speaking course and I couldn't find it through a simple Google search. So I asked a robot and I'm here. So this is my second meeting as a guest. I love listening to all of you guys speak. You guys are giving me more confidence to hopefully get up there. We'll see one day. But I definitely do enjoy each of these meetings and I hope to gain the confidence to do what you guys do. So yeah.
Thank you, Princess. And with that, once I get up here and get the gavel, stand in front of you guys again, that brings our meeting to a close. Thank you to all of our participants and our guests, and we will see you all next week.